Hey everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm on lunch, so I'm gonna make this really, 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 really quick because I'm on lunch. But anyway, today's little I don't know hot topic or I don't know hot topics with Sonia. Guess we'll do that today. Anyway, I just want to do this, and it only be maybe 5 or 6 minutes, no more than 10. But I was talking to someone via email, and they were letting me know about a situation that they had weighed the pros and the cons, and the cons in this season outweighed the pros, even though they could do what needed to be done, the position or whatever needed to be done. And so, I responded back and said I understood all that and left it at that. And as I sat thinking, um, I began to just think about how we will ask God a lot of times to open up doors, change situations, do things for us. And when He opens the door or He begins to do those things for us, we then will say, oh, there are too many obstacles. No, yeah, can't do that because of that. But we're putting obstacles before what we've asked God to open the door for. And so, what I mean by that is if you're asking God to give you an increase in salary or change your salary or change your position or give you the thing that you really love and enjoy, whatever it is in your career, and God opens up that door, but then you're looking at all these different obstacles that the enemy has put in front of you on purpose to keep you from walking through the door that's already open, then you're going to miss that blessing. And God is saying, I can't give you what you've asked me for. I can't give you the blessing that you asked me for. I can't let you go through the door because you're holding on to all of these other obstacles, all these other things that, yeah, I know those are obstacles and those are there, but I've opened this door specifically for you, which means I already knew about those obstacles and those situations prior to me opening this door, even prior to you asking me to do this, because I already know what's in your heart even before you think it or say. I already know what's there. So when I open the door for you, I already know that those obstacles are there. But that doesn't mean that I am not going to bless and move to where those obstacles mean absolutely nothing. Why? Because I've opened up the door for you to go through. And so, not just in career, just in anything that we're asking Him. So, what is it that you're holding on to? What are your obstacles that you're holding on to, that you're wanting God to open doors, do these different things for you, but He can't do those different things for you because you're holding on to the obstacles that you feel will block and keep you from being able to walk through the door? Come on now. I mean, really. You've prayed about something. God has just made the way and opened the door. And there may be some times where we may not know for real, but a lot of the times we know the doors that God has opened for us to walk through. But we allow fear, and fear is a huge obstacle. It is the biggest obstacle. We allow that or other little obstacles to step in and be in our way. And instead of us walking through that door, we let the obstacles take control and we don't go through the door. And then we're crying and wondering, well, God, I asked you about this, and God, I thought you said this, and God, I've been waiting, and God, what about this? And God is saying, yes, my son and daughter, I opened up the door, I made the way, but you allowed the obstacles that you're holding on to make the decision for you, and so you missed. We have to learn that when God opens a door, God already knows about the situation, the obstacles, the concern. He knows about all that. But if He's opened up the door, that means He's already dealt with those obstacles and situations. We just have to have the faith and trust that God has done that. And a lot of times we don't. We don't have the faith. We don't trust that God has done that, that God is going to do that, that God is in the midst of that. We just don't. We don't trust it at all. We just don't trust it at all. And we just will ignore or go on or try to say that God didn't do. And God is saying, oh, yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, I opened. Oh, yeah, I made the way. But because you were holding on to the obstacles, you didn't see what I was doing, or you didn't see what I did. Or we're praying about something and God wants to give it to us, but because we're holding on to these obstacles and we're saying these obstacles are going to keep me from being able to do this. So unless God can get rid of those obstacles, sometimes God wants to bless you with the obstacles being there. Sometimes God wants to move on your behalf with the obstacles being there, to show you that it doesn't matter about your obstacles, that I'm still going to move. I'm still going to bless. I'm still going to open up the door. You have to look beyond the obstacles. So, in other words, you have to look beyond what you see in order to see what God is doing. You have to hear beyond what you don't hear in order to hear what God is saying and what God is directing and telling you to do. And a lot of times we don't do that. We want to automatically, without a shadow of a doubt, well, we want God to do it this way and that way, and this is the way that God should do it, and it should be done this like this, and then this like that, and then those obstacles are gone, and then yeah, I can walk on in. Well, not all testimonies come without obstacles being in the way. Not all testimonies come without there being something that God had to move, or there's something that God knows is an obstacle but needs to bless you anyway, so that you can have the testimony of saying, you know what, yep, there were obstacles in the way, but God yet opened the door, God yet moved, and God yet blessed. Even with those obstacles being in the way, even with those things being where they were. I'm just saying, a lot of times we are looking for God to bless, but our requirement that we're trying to make it be is that God can only bless us when the obstacles have been removed. And that's not true. God can bless you even in the midst of the obstacles, but you have to let go of them. You can't just hold on to them and just say, well, I'm hold on to them, and I'm gonna keep them. But when God get ready to bless, then God will move the obstacles and then He'll bless. God is saying, no, leave the obstacles where they are and you walk into the blessing. I'm going to take care of those obstacles. Quit trying to hold on to them, saying that they got to go first, or not moving, holding on to them, and God wants to remove them. You don't let them, but you hold on to them. And God is saying, well, I'm going to bless you even with those obstacles there. Don't just hold on to them. Just let them go. Don't worry about those obstacles. I'm going to bless and open the door for you. I'm going to make that way. I'm going to give you the favor. But we want to predict and try to tell God how to bless and how to move. Well, you can't do that. None of us can. God blesses and moves however He wants to move. And there are times where there are going to be obstacles, and He's going to say, I need you to trust me beyond that obstacle. I need you to let that obstacle go. Quit holding on to it and just walk through this open door. I've already got that taken care of. Case in point, 2 or 3 years ago, I was in need of a car. And the individual told me a place to go, and I wasn't listening because I told him he was crazy. They weren't going to do anything. I went everywhere else but where that person told me. I eventually went to where that place that the person told me to go to got in contact with me. And I eventually went down to where they were. Long story short was I went down on one day. I got there at 10 o'clock. At 3 o'clock p.m., I walked out with a vehicle in my hand. car keys to a vehicle in my hand. Why? Because I finally let go of trying to hold on to those obstacles and saying God can't bless until he moves those obstacles. And God showed me, yep, that credit of yours is real, not excuse me, that credit of yours is not really nice. But guess what? I'm going to show you how I give you favor and I bless in spite of that obstacle. I'm going to open a door and I'm going to bless you in spite of that obstacle. I'm going to do that. And what did God do? Exactly that. He blessed me in spite of that obstacle of me holding on to, well, my credit is not that great and nobody's going to let me get anything without having to have a co-signer. God said, watch what I do. That's an example of holding on to an obstacle when God has opened the door and God wants to bless me, and he knows that obstacle is there, but God wants to bless me and say, look, daughter, I need you to understand there are times where there are going to be obstacles, but I'm going to bless you in spite of that obstacle being there. That shouldn't keep that shouldn't let you get the blessing, and it should keep you from being able to get it. But because I am God and there has to be testimonies of what I do, I have to have somebody that has an obstacle that I go in and I bless them, even though that obstacle is there. Are you that person that he's trying to use, but you're holding on to the obstacle? Well, today's hot topic with Sonia is let go of the obstacles so God can bless you in spite of them being there, so that you can have the testimony to be a witness to somebody else. Bye, y'all.